Part 97. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 962. True Ancestor Realm. The Grey Mist Avenue stands above the entire True Ancestor Realm, turning into a throne. The Lord of Time and Space Palace sits on it, high above, looking down at the common people. In the blink of an eye, millions of creatures died. Just when everyone was expecting the World Sacrifice Temple to take action against the enemy, news came that the World Sacrifice Temple was going to meet the Lord of Time and Space. This directly made the world angry. The Temple of Sacrifice, how can it be so spineless? They have become the ones on the road with the blessing of 10,000 roads end, but now they have abandoned the last wish of 10,000 ways end and want to kneel down to the enemy. A bunch of traitors. The world cursed. But soon, another news came out. Genchi Pavilion, the strongest ones are already on their way to Powa continent to meet with the Grey Mist strongmen. It is said that they will also offer the origin factors of all creatures in the True Ancestor Realm. As soon as this news came out, it once again aroused the anger of the world. Is this going to sell the entire True Ancestor Realm? Shameless, even if you surrender to the enemy, you will harm the world. In this way, our original factors will be leaked, and the Grey Mist Sea wants to deal with us, with ease. Moreover, the surrender of the World Sacrifice Temple and the World Suppressing Pavilion is just the beginning. Many major forces, after seeing the Shishi Temple and Genchi Pavilion surrendering to the enemy, had their last doubts dispelled and followed closely behind. The Tianling continent Tianling sect has set off to meet the Grey Mist powerhouse. The Fengguo sect of Fengguo continent, along with 300 sects of different sizes, is going to surrender to the enemy. The Lu family, Zhao family, etc. in Kangmang continent are looking for gifts. They must give them to the so-called adults in Grey Mist Sea first. The news comes one after another. Hey, compared to ordinary people, those big forces are all vested interests. They would rather be broken than destroyed. They don't have such determination. Yes, ordinary people can face death more calmly, but they are used to being aloof and unwilling to give up their glory and wealth. Write down the list. If one day, people with lofty ideals in our True Ancestor Realm can rise, we must list them one by one. Ordinary people seem to be unable to do anything except curse when the big forces surrendered to the enemy. The Temple of Sacrifice to the world. The adults from the Grey Mist Sea are here, great. Now that the abyss can accommodate travelers, I think we can go directly to the Grey Mist Sea this time. What does life and death in this world have to do with us? At the end of the country and at the end of Ningtian, they are all very happy. As for Changsun Changqing, there was indeed a hint of worry in his eyes. The ancestral world is far from grown up. The strong men from the Grey Mist Sea have already arrived. Can't stop it? Boom. Moreover, at this moment, a powerful aura burst out from the retreat area of the Sacrifice Temple. 2 more ultimates were born. The other 2 ultimates are Dugujintian and Xuanhuan. In the Temple of Sacrifice, except for some ultimates who need to preside over daily affairs, the rest are in retreat. Now, Dugujintian and Xuanhuan couldn't bear it anymore and broke out at the same time. The Grey Mist powerhouse has arrived, what are we waiting for? Dugujintian was holding a long sword with excitement on his face. 9 laws have been spread throughout this place. If we don't seek refuge in the Grey Mist Sea, it won't be long before we have no status at all in this world. Xuanhuan also spoke indifferently. Changsun Changqing was silent for a long time and said, "Let's go to Paoyazhu." In the main hall, after everyone dispersed. Is it too late? Changsun Changqing whispered, with a deep helplessness in his eyes. Enduring the humiliation and bearing the burden, Ji Wulu and Wu Jindao were finally ruined and saw the dawn of victory. However, the arrival of the powerful men from the Grey Mist Sea left him no room to move. But then, This helplessness turned into determination. He sent a secret order. Hibernate, practice, pick some seeds, take them to hide, we must walk on the path of the nine Dharma firmly. He passed this secret order to his eldest grandson, Immortal. He had already had a premonition that since the most powerful man from the Grey Mist Sea had arrived, everyone in the world might be in trouble. A catastrophe has arrived. After all, the nine arts were too powerful. He did not believe that the Grey Mist Sea could break it. The only way was to directly kill all the practitioners of the nine arts. In this way, all threatening factors related to the nine laws can be eliminated physically. Therefore, the more this happens, the more some people have to hide. Always leave some kindling behind. This time, I recommend Xuanhuan with my blood. There was a lonely and courageous look in Chang Sun Changqing's eyes. This time, he was determined to die. Martial Wilderness World. Jin Baifeng, Han Ruwei, Ling Qishan, so cruel, so cruel. In the Genchi Pavilion, Yu Linglong's face flashed with unimaginable hatred and anger. Just now, she finally contacted the main pavilion of Genchi Pavilion. The news she received made her extremely angry. Her sister Yu Lingxiu was actually taken away by the three main pavilion masters as a furnace. I don't know whether I will live or die. Moreover, the latest news is that Genchi Pavilion is going to meet the adult of Grey Mist Sea. Even the Origin Dao plan will be realized, sending the origin factors of all living things in the true ancestor realm to the Grey Mist Sea. Pavilion Master. At this time, Han He walked in and said, "We have found out that the Grey Mist Avenue has appeared in the Pomo Dao domain, the Creation Dao domain, and the Huantian Dao domain. Finally, we went to Paoyazhu, the true ancestor realm." Hearing this, a look of thought suddenly flashed across Yu Linglong's face. After learning about the appearance of the Grey Mist powerhouse, she immediately sent people to investigate. The powerful intelligence system of Genchi Pavilion quickly found out the whereabouts of the Lord of Time and Space. Of course, this is mainly because the Master of Time and Space Palace is too high profile, unscrupulous, and has no cover at all. Everywhere he goes on the Grey Fog Avenue, he disturbs everyone and creates a lot of noise. It's not difficult to find out. The Pomo Dao realm, the Creation Dao realm, the Huantian Dao realm. Yu Linglong stood up and said, "I'm going to Oath-Keeping Valley." Soon, she arrived at Oath-Keeping Valley. He told Wu Xiaoqan and others what was happening in the true ancestor realm now. The Oath Keepers were all surprised. The strong men from the Grey Mist Sea have arrived. Wu Zhenhai and others looked solemn. However, Wu Xiaoqan's eyes lit up and he said, "Is it so strong? I'll go find Senior Li and the others. They will definitely like this kind of food." With that said, he got up and left. Other people. I was immediately speechless. However, after thinking about it, they realized that it seemed to be the case. Many times before and after, powerful men from the Grey Mist Sea passed through, but the final outcome was always the same. Turned into food. Ahem, everyone, hurry up and practice. Today, everyone is taking a piece of shredded pork and must complete digestion. No rest or sleep is allowed. Wu Zhenhai spoke fiercely. Today's Oath Keepers have become stronger than ever before. Wu Zhenhai and Wu Mingshan are both at the peak of opening the door. King Qin's two disciples, Suihen and Qiu Qing, were originally the ones who opened the door. Recently, they have obtained the new 9 methods and are in retreat, trying to hit the road. Success is not far away. By then, the Oath Keepers will have top-level power. It's time for us to retreat. Wu Zhenhai spoke. Small village. In the early morning, the faint sunshine comes. Li Fan woke up sleepily and reached out to touch Xiaobai casually. Then he got dressed and opened the door. Subakian, Nanfan and other disciples thoughtfully brought hot water and Li Fan washed his face. "Master, the goose has laid eggs." On the other side, Ziling spoke excitedly. She came over with a big goose egg in her hands, excitement written all over her pretty face, and said, "Master, this egg is so big." Nanfan, Subakian, and others also came over to watch out of curiosity. As cultivators, they had indeed, hardly ever seen goose eggs. Li Fan smiled and said, "Okay, take it to the kitchen to Gong Yat. I also boiled the goose eggs today for you to try." A group of disciples were all very happy. But Wu Dade came up and said, "Master, one egg is not enough to eat, otherwise we should kill the goose and eat it. I heard that the goose soup is good." Hearing this, the big white goose on the other side suddenly trembled and looked at Li Fan nervously. However, Li Fan shook his head and said, "Dear Virtue, you are too impetuous. If you keep the goose and the water flows slowly, you can eat more goose eggs, but if you kill it, you can only eat one meal. You have to distinguish between a full meal and a full meal. We can't talk about goose soup until it stops laying eggs that day." After hearing this, the big white goose breathed a long sigh of relief, and then looked at Wu Dade with a faint look in its eyes, quietly walked behind Wu Dade, and then pecked it. "Ah!" Wu Dade immediately covered his butt and started running away. Everyone laughed. "Wu Xiaoqan, come and see Senior Li." At this time, Wu Xiaoqan's voice sounded outside. "I worked overtime all night today. It was so cold in the mountains that I shivered. There were not even a single star in the sky. It was so miserable. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert." Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 963. Hearing Wu Xiaoqan's voice outside, Li Fan immediately said, "Please come in." Immediately, Gong Ya stepped forward to open the door, and Wu Xiaoqan walked in. "Greetings, Senior." Wu Xiaoqan saluted respectfully. "No need to be polite." Li Fan said. "By the way, Zhang Li and the others went hunting a few days ago. Did you get any prey?" He suddenly remembered that a few days ago, Zhang Li, Qing Chen, and Lu Rang were originally invited by Wu Xiaoqan to help them hunt. Zhang Li and the others brought back so much, but they didn't know if they had given some to Wu Xiaoqan. Wu Xiaoqan said, "Senior Qi, we have received our portion, and we have all eaten it." Hearing this, Li Fan nodded and said, "By the way, the village killed the New Year pig yesterday, and I will bring back some meat to eat later." Hearing this, Wu Xiaoqan was very excited. The New Year pig killed in the village. This, just think about it with your toes, and you will know how precious it is. I'm afraid, it is far superior to creatures such as Huijian and negative Qi Luogui. "Thank you, Senior." Wu Xiaoqan thanked him and then said, "Senior, this junior is here to report something to Senior." Li Fan said, "What's the matter?" Wu Xiaoqan said, "There are stronger creatures coming over from the Grey Mist Sea." Stronger creatures. Why does this expression sound weird? It must be a bigger animal, right? Li Fan thinks this should be the case. "Senior, according to rumors, a terrible poisonous insect has appeared this time, which can easily bite any animal to death." Wu Xiaoqan then added, also talking about the horrific experiments done by the Master of Time and Space Palace in Paoyazhu. After all, that thing was so weird. After a spiritual king died, his clansmen, in-laws, and collateral relatives were all eaten by a poisonous insect, and they died miserably. Everyone in the world changed their minds after hearing this. "I see." When Li Fan heard this, he immediately understood. It seemed that Wu Xiaoqan and the others had found prey again, but the situation was very complicated, involving poisonous insects, and they were still unable to deal with it, so they came to seek help again. Indeed, there are too many poisonous insects in the world. Many poisonous insects can easily kill people. If they are not aware of them, accidents can easily occur. Great virtue. Li Fan spoke and said, "Take Dehei there." Zhuzhen, Baijian, you two are going too. Among his disciples, the most prolific hunter is Dade. Since the situation is complicated, he must be allowed to take the dog with him. The one with less experience is Lin Zhuzhen. It is also necessary for Lin Zhuzhen to go out and experience more. Otherwise, there is no use in drawing talismans all day long, and you will starve to death in the future. In addition, there are poisonous insects this time. If Subakian is poisoned or something, he can deal with it if he follows. Subakian and Lin Zhuzhen both stood up and spoke, saying, "As you command." Ziling also sent a message to Wu Xiaokan, asked about the situation, and volunteered, saying, "Master, I want to go too." Li Fan thought for a while and let her and Subakian go. It would be nice for two girls to have a companion. He nodded immediately and said, "Good." The four of them immediately got together. Lin Zhuzhen took little Kylin with him, and the nine-tailed fox also followed Subakian. They said goodbye to Li Fan and left the courtyard. Before leaving, Li Fan asked Gongya to take out 2 pieces of pork from the Gya cold box and give them to Wu Xiaokan. After all, the pork in the village is much better than game meat. It would also be good to let Wu Xiaokan and the others have a try. Wu Xiaokan was shocked when he took the pork. This pork, the smell it gives off is so terrifying. Compared with this pork, grey hog, negative chest turtle, etc. are simply garbage meat, not for human consumption at all. "Thank you, Senior." He was excited. He felt that with this meat, the ultimate would be able to appear in Oath-Keeping Valley immediately. Immediately, a group of people walked out of the small mountain village. On the way, Wu Xiaokan introduced the situation in detail. "Wang, you went to the Pomo Dao realm, the Creation Dao realm, the Huantian Dao realm, and then appeared in the True Ancestor realm. This shows that the evil corpses of the 3 of you were probably taken care of by this grey mist creature." The big black dog spoke solemnly and looked at Ziling, Lin Zhuzhen, and Subakian. "Moreover, you are confident to dare to show off your power in the True Ancestor realm so arrogantly." When Wu Dade heard this, he also said, "What should we do?" The big black dog said, "Kill directly." There was a hint of ferocity in its dog eyes as it said, "It seems that the Grey Mist Sea wants to wipe out all the living creatures in the True Ancestor realm, because this is their only way to crack the 9 laws. Maybe, the Sea of Grey Fog will invade in a big way, and countless Grey Fog armies will come to kill. In that case, just kill them." Wu Dade was shocked and said, "Damn dog, are you so confident? Can your dog defeat an army of tens of millions of people? Countless grey mist armies, just these few of them, are they a little short of people?" But the big black dog glanced at Ziling, Subakian, and Lin Zhuzhen and said, "With these 3 imbecile people here, what are you afraid of?" Wu Dade. But then he thought about it, and it seemed so. After all, Zhang Li, Lin Zhuzhen, Ziling, Subakian, were all particularly inhuman beings. Especially not afraid of group fights. If tens of millions of troops really come over, maybe it will be a battle. Massacre. He suddenly couldn't help but look forward to it. Correct. At this time, the big black dog suddenly looked at Lin Zhuzhen and the others and said, "Kylin, can enter your Taoist scenery. When the time comes to fight, we can use it as a trump card." The big black dog already had a premonition that Lin Zhuzhen would have a fierce battle with his previous life. Hearing this, Lin Zhuzhen was quite surprised. "Can Kylin enter Daijing land?" Next to her, Subakian also tried it, and the little fox disappeared directly. She sensed that the little fox was indeed inhabiting her scenic spot. "It's really okay." She spoke happily. Lin Zhuzhen also put the little unicorn into the Taoist landscape. "Brother Dade, can you put Dehei in too?" At this time, Lin Zhuzhen suddenly looked at Wu Dade. Wu Dade twitched the corner of his mouth and said, Forget it, my scenic spot is quite clean now, but it won't be good if it makes it stink. Lin Juchhan. When the big black dog heard this, he immediately became angry and stared at Wu Dade, with murderous intent in the dog's eyes. Shortly after, they had already appeared in Oath-Keeping Valley. Wu Xiaokan carried 2 pieces of pork into the valley, which immediately caused a sensation. Everyone was shocked by the pork. What kind of meat is this? Why is it so terrifying? Wu Zhenhai looked dazed. Why does this feel like it's 1,000 times better than the gray meat? What kind of creature must have been killed? Wu Mingshan was speechless. Even Yu Linglong was a little dumbfounded. She used to feel that the flesh and blood of overlord-level creatures were beyond the pale. I never expected that Shizun and the others could actually kill such a creature and eat its flesh. This was beyond her knowledge. Definitely above the overlord. Wu Xiaokan said. This is the New Year pig killed in the village. Year of the pig. Everyone has complicated expressions. Is this creature just a New Year pig? What a village this is. Boil this meat into soup and quickly deliver it to the 2 girls Qiuqing and Xuanhuan who are in seclusion. As long as they drink this soup, they will definitely be on their way. Wu Zhenhai immediately spoke solemnly. Miss Linglong, do you have the coordinates of Paoyazhu in the true ancestor realm? Lin Zhujian spoke to Yu Linglong. Yu Linglong took a deep breath, nodded, and said. Supreme Lords, can I lead the way for you? She really wanted to go to the true ancestor realm. Although Senior Xuanhuan gave her sister a life-saving charm, and her sister should be safe, she was still a little worried and wanted to take a look. Of course, it's the best. Zi Ling spoke. Shortly after, the group of them had already left the dead man's wilderness. Damn dog, I'm warning you, be more accurate this time. Seeing the big black dog setting up the teleportation array, Wu Dade was a little panicked. Now. True ancestor realm. Somewhere in retreat. Boom. Terrifying fluctuations broke through the earth. The ultimate aura made the surrounding mountains tremble. The scenic spots on both sides slowly emerged. In that scenic spot, there are regular avenues and paths. 2 figures walked out of the earth. Astonishingly, it was Ji Wuden and Chang Sunbumi. The 2 of them soared into the sky and directly entered the ultimate sequence. On the road successfully. Is this what it feels like to be on the road? Heaven and earth correspond, the avenues coincide, I feel like one punch can break a realm. Ji Wuden spoke excitedly. The immortality of the eldest grandson means. Fortunately, luckily the egg was knocked off, otherwise, we might really have problems when we hit the road. He was a little scared. When they were on the road, the 9 laws roared, and the origin was extremely important. If the little turtle hadn't exploded their eggs and made their origin pure, there's no telling what would have happened. That's true. Tell me, when Lao Wu first set out on the road, did he also have his balls blown out before he succeeded in going on the road? Ji Wuden was a little curious. Chang Sunbumi shook his head and said. I don't know, Lao Wu is so strong, maybe there are other ways. As he spoke, he suddenly took out a secret talisman. My ancestor sent me a secret message. Let us find some seeds of the 9 methods of cultivation, take them away, and hide them. A great disaster is imminent in the true ancestor realm. His expression changed drastically. Ji Wuden's mind suddenly swept away. He learned about everything that had happened recently in several small towns not far away. The Grey Mist strongmen invaded. Ji Wuden's face was filled with anger as he said, all major forces have surrendered to the enemy one after another. Chang Sunbumi also tightened his grip on the spear and said. As protectors of the 9 dharmas, how can we back down? Let's fight. The 2 of them immediately set off directly to Paoyazhu. Mainly, they have confidence. If the strongest people in this world are really those who are on the road, then Changsun Changking's idea is undoubtedly correct. Hide it until you succeed in cultivation. However, the 10 gods have not been destroyed, and the one at the end of 10,000 paths is still alive. Even if there was a fight, they believed that those beings would take action. Wait a moment. At this time, the eldest grandson Buletinmi suddenly thought that his ancestor, the eldest grandson Changqing, didn't know about Shizun's birth. What's wrong, eldest grandson? Ji Wuden asked. Changsun Bumi said, ancestor asked us to pick some seeds and leave, but where is my ancestor himself? He doesn't know how to do it. Upon hearing this, Ji Wuden nodded and said, how about we tell him the truth? Changsun Bumi shook his head and said, no, the cause and effect of Shizun's life is too big. It is risky to tell it. After all, my ancestor is still in the enemy camp. If it leaks accidentally, it will be over. You can't tell him, but you can't let him do stupid things either. Ji Wudon said worriedly. What to do? Changsun Bumi was thinking, and suddenly gritted his teeth and said, we scare them. The only one who can stop the world sacrifice temple now is Lao Wu, who is known as the ultimate Shura. Let's take action first to build momentum. Then use Lao Wu to overwhelm the formation. The two discussed for a while, and then immediately took action. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 964. Soon, the Ning family, one of the 9 major families. Boom. Terrifying fluctuations fell from the sky. On this day, the Ning family's mountain protecting formation erupted in full force, the light was shocking, and everyone in the Ning family was frightened. A powerful enemy is coming. A powerful enemy is coming. Those who opened the door rose into the sky one after another. But, the next moment, the void exploded, the sky collapsed, the spear like a dragon cut through the Ning family's mountain protecting formation, and the giant palm like thunder destroyed everything in the Ning family. The Zhang family was completely destroyed. As soon as this news came out, the world was shocked. The Ning family has been destroyed. The Ning family, one of the 9 ancient immortal clans, has been wiped out. The ancestral land has been turned into ruins, and all those who opened the door have died. What, is it true? Who took action? The only one who can do this is the ultimate. What's going on? Is it true? Everyone is terrified. At this moment, Changsun Bumi and Ji Wuden appeared, and they spoke directly. The Ning family betrayed their trust and intended to become traitors. Today, Zhang Sunbumi, Ji Wuden, and Ji Wula personally destroyed them, just to warn the world sacrifice temple. Anyone who dares to step out of the temple of sacrifice to the world will be killed by us. Chang Sunbumi's words shocked the world. When everyone heard this, they were all shocked. What, it was actually Chang Sunbumi and the others who did it, have they become the ultimates? It's too scary. Absolutely. Not long ago, they could only force the Zhang family to close their doors. Now, they can destroy the entire Ning family. Chang Sunbumi, Ji Wuden, and Ji Wulu are worthy of being the protectors of the 9 laws. They are so powerful. The world was shocked. Now, the temple of sacrifice to the world. Many ultimates were shocked. They were all ready to leave the world sacrifice temple and go to Paoyazhu to meet the adults from the Grey Mist Sea. However, this happened suddenly. Chang Sunbumi and Ji Wuden have become the ultimates. How did they grow up so fast? Zhang Shanjin's words were a bit out of control. This speed was completely beyond their imagination. First, they are extremely talented people. If they were not limited to the old skills, they would have already started. Second, the new 9 methods want to hit the road, making the old 9 method simpler and more complete. Dugu Jintian spoke in a deep voice. Chang Ching sighed deeply and said, I think there is another very important reason, Ji Wulu. He is the one who is on the road. With him guiding the way, Chang Buletin will definitely grow up quickly if he can't destroy these traitors. Hearing this, everyone nodded, and at the same time, there was murderous intent in their eyes. Ning Tianji, on the other hand, was going crazy at this moment. His eyes were red and he said, Cao Tama, you go too far to bully others, you go too far to bully others, Ji Wulu, Chang Bumi, Ji Wuden, you beasts, I will not be human until I kill you. I want to go out and fight them. I want to see what they are capable of. He couldn't help it anymore and wanted to rush out, taking one step outside the temple of sacrifice. Damn it, Chang Immortal, Ji Wuden, Ji Wulu, are you coming? Have a good fight with me if you can. Ning Tianji was furious, and his murderous intent shocked the entire sacrifice state, and everyone was shocked. However, just as he appeared, a cold voice suddenly came from the void above the world's sacrifice divine state. Lao Wu, hurry up, people are coming out of the temple of sacrifice to the world, come on. As soon as these words rang out, in front of the temple of sacrifice to the world, Ning Tianji was suddenly startled. You don't abide by martial ethics. He cursed, turned around, and hurriedly fled into the hall without leaving even a shadow behind. Seeing Ning Tianji coming back directly, Zhang Shanju, Dugu Jintian and others were all in a daze. Brother Ning, why are you back? Zhang Shan couldn't help but speak. Yes, don't you want to fight with them? Dugu Jintian was also a little pity. He also wanted to use Ning Tianji's hand to test how deep the water was for Chang Bumi and others. Hearing this, Ning Tianji's face was filled with anger and he said, Damn it, ultimate Shura, Wu Jianghe is here too. Which of you dares to go out? Go ahead. After hearing his roar, everyone fell silent. The ultimate Shura, Wu Jianghe. It should be noted that the 4 words ultimate Shura are the nicknames Wu Jianghe gave him alive. The travelers in the Grey Mist Sea, and even the top 10 overlords, died in his hands. Just because of the temple of sacrifice to the world, if you go out, you will die. To them, the 3 words Wu Jianghe are an insurmountable mountain. Ning Tianji comforted himself and muttered, I'm not going to go anyway, it's not him who destroyed my entire clan, there is always a wrongdoer and a debtor, so why should I look for him? I'm only targeting Chang Bumi, Ji Wulu, and the others. Everyone. Hey, now that Wu Jianghe is blocked outside, what should we do? We can't go to see the Lord of Grey Mist Sea. Shuizonglu, the ultimate who came out of seclusion together with Dugu Jintian, spoke with difficulty. The eldest grandson, Chang Qing, suddenly said, Maybe we shouldn't go out just yet. Hearing this, everyone looked at him. Everyone, don't forget that ultimate Shura Wu Jianghe's reputation was gained through killing. Has he ever lost in Wuhuang realm, Mohuang realm, Tianjiang continent? Even the top 10 overlords can only die in his hands. He analyzed it rationally and said, Who can guarantee that nothing will happen this time? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Does this mean that Wu Jianghe will take action against the adults from the Grey Mist Sea? And Chang Qing then spoke and said, The Lord of Grey Mist Sea is in Paoyazhu now. Chang Bumi, Ji Wuden and other guardians jumped out. Why didn't he make any move? If he is completely sure, I am afraid that Chang Bumi and others have died many times. After hearing this, everyone's expressions became more solemn. You mean, maybe the people on the other side of the Grey Mist Sea are also afraid of Wu Jianghe? Shuizonglu's words are full of uncertainty. Because this conjecture is so amazing. When the others heard this, their expressions also changed. Changsun Changqing nodded with a heavy face. I think, what Brother Changsun said makes sense. We can wait for a while. Zhongshan was a little uneasy and said, after all, we are just forced to have no choice but to go out. Your Excellency will understand. Yes, we can let our family go and represent us. That's fine. Everyone spoke. Soon, everyone in the hall dispersed. Brother Ning. Suddenly, Changsun Changqing called to Ning Tianji. Ning Tianji said in confusion. Brother Zhangsun, what's wrong? Changsun Changqing said. It's nothing, I just have something, I don't know if I should tell you. Hearing this, Ning Tian was extremely annoyed and said. You and I, brothers, what else can't we say? Changsun Changqing smiled and said. I just feel a little weird. Changsun Changqing said. Last time, Changsun Bumi and the others targeted the Zhang family, but, they did not directly destroy the Zhang family. Instead, he attacked your Ning family, I'm quite confused. Moreover, just now, Zhang Shanju and Dugu Jintian seem to want Brother Ning to leave, I remember they are still in-laws. Changsun Changqing's face was full of worry. When Ning Tianji heard this, he was startled. Immediately afterwards, his heart was filled with chills. Brother Zhangsun, I understand what you mean, damn it, is there a ghost in this temple of sacrifice? Ning Tian couldn't help it anymore. Changsun Changqing nodded and said. Brother Ning, you must be careful when you act in the future. I think, the mole will target you. Ning Tianji said, I understand, Changsun, thank you. In this temple from now on, I can only trust you. Shortly after, only Changsun Changqing is left. Do Changsun Bumi, He Ji Wuden and others want me to stay in the temple of sacrifice to the world? He thought. He already understood the intentions of Ji Wuden and others. Okay, then keep waiting. Changsun Changqing whispered. At the same time, in another secret place in the true ancestor realm. Ah, it hurts so much, my balls hurt so much. A big mountain exploded, and an old man jumped out of the mountain with a long bow on his back. This person is clearly Wu Jianghe. At this moment, he was covering his crotch with both hands, and the pain was so painful that he almost burst into tears. After receiving the 9 Dharma inheritance, he immediately found a place to retreat. As a result, something went wrong when he attacked the ultimate. Eggs caused trouble. It made him feel so much pain that he couldn't stand it anymore. No. I have to find a dog to bite me, big black dog, come on, come and bite me. He decided to leave here and go find the dog first. Another secret place. Changsun Bumi, Ji Wuden and I took action to destroy the Ning family. Ji Wulu finally came to his senses, but when he heard the news, his eyes went straight. What happened to this world? He felt like he was going crazy. Am I still Ji Wulu? Why do I feel that there is another Ji Wulu in this world? My riding on the horse has definitely been arranged by someone, and arranged to death. He was simply shaking. Follow the public account GoEXIN's Nest and reply with OR, and you will be able to see the great supernatural power of Dehe that reaches the sky and the earth. Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, GoEXIN. Chapter 965. True Ancestor Realm. The news that the temple of sacrifice to the world was so intimidated that it did not dare to go out spread throughout the world. This shocked the world. The protector of the 9 laws is actually so powerful. Invincible, even the world's sacrifice temple is closed. I heard that Ning Tianji just went out, and just heard Wu Jianghe's name and ran away. After all, Shura Wu Jianghe is the strongest person in the true ancestor realm. Many people were shocked, and even more people were excited. Wu Jianghe's reputation was soaring, and he was once again admired by the world, and was even hailed as the strongest man in the 9 arts. Well, the 9 laws protector is so strong, there won't be any changes. Some powerful men who were originally going to meet Lord Grey Mist Sea were hesitant. Haha, there is nothing to be shaken. I admit that we are not Wu Jianghe's opponent, but no matter how strong Wu Jianghe is, can one person suppress the Grey Mist Sea? It makes sense. If you go to see me now, you will see us more loyal. However, in the end, there were still many sect forces heading to the Grey Mist Sea. Especially Genchi Pavilion and so on. And at this moment, Paoyas who? In just a few days, all the creatures in this continent, except those who surrendered and knelt down, were killed. The giant city in the center of Paoyas who, Pao City. The grey mist throne of the Master of Time and Space Palace stands tall on this giant city. On the throne, there was a sneer on the lips of the Master of Time and Space Palace. 9 Dharma Protectors? Ultimate Shura? It's interesting. Naturally, he also knew about Ji Wuden and others' intimidation of the sacrifice temple. But, he didn't care, and it wasn't worth his while. The protector of the 9 laws should be related to the big black dog and Xuanhuan. He whispered. As long as I am here, you can only jump into my overall situation. He is very calm. He believes that this time, the big black dog and Xuanhuan have no choice, because it is impossible for them to watch him and destroy the entire true ancestor realm. Sooner or later you have to jump out. Therefore, he is not in a hurry. While thinking, his eyes fell on the city wall. The name of Broken Mist City has also been changed and became Kneeling Mist City. As the name suggests, the Lord of Time and Space Hall will be here to accept the kneeling worship of the entire true ancestor realm. This will completely wash away the shame of eternity. It will also comfort those pioneers of the Grey Mist who were killed by the 10,000 Paths End and the 10 deities and 2 evils. For the Lord of Time and Space, only in this way can it be considered a complete victory. Soon, all forces arrived. Tianlings who Tianling sect, come to meet the distinguished guests of Grey Mist Sea. A voice came. The 300 sects of Fengguo continent at the Fengguo sect level are here to pay their respects. The Lu family, Zhao family, etc. from Kangmang continent, offer a small gift to Lord Grey Mist Sea, a detailed explanation of the 9 methods, 3,000 beauties, and 10,000 square meters of top-grade origin stone. All major forces are coming from all directions. Everyone has landed. We have to walk over on our knees, so that the adults in the Grey Mist Sea can see our sincerity. The Zhang family, one of the 9 ancient immortal clans, had just arrived thousands of miles away from Pao City, and they all fell behind. The head of the family, Zhang Fubai, personally took the lead, kowtowing step by step, and moved forward on his knees. Cao, is it necessary to roll it up like this? When the Dugu family saw this, they were all shocked, and then said directly. Quick, let's kneel forward and move forward. Other families. Suddenly, outside the current Kneeling Mist City, a spectacle rarely seen in thousands of years appeared. The highest and most aloof forces were the humblest, and they all moved forward on their knees. With the major families taking the lead, other forces followed suit and all knelt down. Once upon a time, Broken Mist City was one of the holy places in the true ancestor realm. Countless people came to commemorate the 10 statues and 10 spirits, but no one came from thousands of miles away on their knees. Nowadays, Pao City has become the Kneeling Mist City, which has caused people from all over the world to kneel down and worship with great piety. The 3 powerful men of Genchi Pavilion, Jin Baifeng, Han Ruwei, and Ling Qishan, also came. The 3 of them worked together to carry a huge alchemy furnace. A few days ago, they threw Yu Lingxiu into the alchemy furnace to refine the original factors. Until now, they have not opened the alchemy furnace yet. Because, by opening it in front of Lord Grey Mist Sea, the original factors will not be lost and can be best preserved. The distance that could be reached with a snap of the fingers made everyone kneel for a whole day and a night. At noon the next day, all the major families knelt outside the city of Kaowu. Greetings to Lord Grey Mist. The head of the Zhang family, Zhang Fubai, was full of excitement. His face was dusty, and he kowtowed to Xuanhuan. Greetings to Lord Grey Mist. Everyone on the scene shouted. All major forces have arrived. Kneeling in the mist city, thousands of feet high in the sky, there are white clouds in the sky. Grey mist swept across, forming a magnificent throne. On the throne, the Lord of Time and Space Palace sat calmly. He looked down at the sentient beings of the true ancestor realm kneeling in front of Wuchen, with a hint of ridicule in his eyes. Is this the world you protect at the end of the world? Is this the common people that the 10 gods and 2 evil spirits are fighting for? After you were all dead, they were kneeling in front of the grey mist throne. Ridiculous. He said leisurely. The grey fog is coming, and the evil ways of the white fog will eventually disappear. You guys, do you want to abandon the darkness and turn to the light, kneel down and worship the grey mist? Below, countless forces shouted. I'm willing. I'm willing. Without a trace of hesitation. The Master of Time and Space Palace nodded and said. Okay, I'll give you a chance. He waved his hand, and 13 stone tablets suddenly appeared in front of everyone. There are different words written on the stone tablet. The end of 10,000 roads, Yinzun, Qizun, Wuzun. These 13 tablets are taken from the Hall of Heroes enshrined in your true ancestor realm. They are the end of 10,000 paths and the tablets of 10 statues and 2 fierce ones. Since you are willing to follow my grey mist avenue, why don't you spurn them? The Master of Time and Space Palace spoke calmly. In the true ancestor realm, at the end of 10,000 paths, there are also 10 deities and 2 evil beings who are enshrined and sacrificed. This time, he specially found the memorial tablet that everyone worshipped. He wants these people to despise the end of 10,000 paths and despise the 10 deities and 2 evils. Only in this way can he be happy. Suddenly, the temple of sacrifice to the world, the pavilion of Genshi, various major families, etc. all moved. Lord Qi, at the end of 10,000 paths, there are 10 deities and 2 evils. If you insult them, they may be entangled in cause and effect, and no one can bear it. At this time, someone suddenly spoke anxiously. Hearing this, others also had a look of fear on their faces and hesitated a little. Although they usually do not regard the end of 10,000 paths and the 10 2 evils as their benefactors and ancestors, they understand that the end of 10,000 paths and the 10 2 evils are people with great karma. If you insult them casually, even if they are all dead, it may cause unimaginable consequences. However, on the throne, the Lord of Time and Space Palace said coldly. Haha, cause and effect. With a bunch of dead people, what's the point of talking about cause and effect? If there is any cause and effect, even if it is attributed to our grey mist sea, all causes and effects will belong to our grey mist sea. He is very disdainful. However, following his words, there seemed to be some indescribable power operating in the dark. The Master of Time and Space Hall suddenly frowned slightly. How could he feel that his words just now seemed to bring a bad premonition? But at this moment, in the hidden void, a white-haired old man looked shocked and murmured. Just a moment ago, I felt the cause and effect flowing and moving. He looked at the Lord of Time and Space in a daze and said. This fool, at this level, still dares to talk nonsense. His words will cause karma for Grey Mist Sea. I'm afraid even the true ancestors can't bear it. If something big happens in the Grey Mist Sea in the future, it's probably because of today. This idiot can't keep his mouth shut. He is the heavenly master, and he has white hair all over his body, so he is the most sensitive to these things. Therefore, he clearly felt that because of the words of the Master of Time and Space just now. It really transferred the vast cause and effect of the world's sacrifice temple, major families, Genchi Pavilion, and other forces, to the Grey Mist Sea. This is really a big act of death. But the master of time and space palace was just confused for a moment. Without thinking too much, he looked down indifferently and said, "Spit it quickly, otherwise, you will die. This is an order. No matter what, with the sea of grey mist here, any cause and effect is bullshit. Yes, the sea of grey mist can suppress everything. It's just a matter of scolding 10 deities and 2 villains. What else is there?" Everyone got up. They stepped forward. Spit. Pooh. Sinners, if you hadn't interfered with this, we would already be members of the Grey Mist Sea. They did not hesitate to spit at the tablets of the 10 gods and 2 evils at the end of 10,000 paths. In the Zhang family, the head of the family, Zhang Fubai, spat out a mouthful of thick phlegm, which splashed on the tablet of Manzun. The head of the Dugu clan, Dugu Xuanhuan, spat mercilessly towards the Sword Master's tablet. Their expressions were cold and heartless. And above the grey mist throne, as the world reviled the end of 10,000 paths and the 10 deities and 2 evils, he felt an increasingly ominous feeling in his heart. It's like sitting on pins and needles. Is there really any cause and effect? He clearly felt that the more people scolded him, the more frightened he became. This made him really regret it. What I just said won't really come true, right? Cause and effect transferred to the Grey Mist Sea? However, he changed his mind and realized that even if there was a cause and effect, it would be to the Grey Mist Sea. It's not like he transferred to the master of the time and space palace. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Taking a deep breath to adjust his mentality, he sneered and whispered, "Haha, Xuanhuan, Xuanhuo, can you just sit back and watch?" He did this for another important purpose. Anger the big black dog and Xuanhuo. On the other side of the Grey Mist Sea, many powerful foreseers and the top 10 overlords were sacrificed. The only valid news they got was that the big black dog and Xuanhuo were still alive and in the true ancestor realm. To destroy the true ancestor realm, they must be lured out and killed. Therefore, he designed such a link. He was very confident that as long as Xuanhuo and Big Black Dog appeared, they would definitely die. Because, the Destiny Brush, the Pale Scroll, the Source-Eating Poisonous Insect, are all waiting in secret. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 966. The World Sacrifice Temple and major families came forward one after another, spitting and sarcastically cursing at the 10 and 2 evil spirits. When they discovered that nothing happened to the tablets that cursed the end of 10,000 paths and the 10 statues and 2 evil ones, everyone was immediately relieved. They cursed more and more excessively. On the throne of grey mist, the master of time and space palace became more and more uneasy. He actually felt a slight pain between his eyebrows. It shouldn't. He was a little uneasy. How could he feel like this at the end of 10,000 paths of death, with 10 deities and 2 evil spirits? Forget it, don't think about it anymore. Anyway, this time, the true ancestor realm will be destroyed. The karma related to those people will die, no big deal. It's my turn, let me come. Finally, many people on the road in the true ancestor realm began to step forward when they saw that there was no karma. The first to rush forward were Jin Baifeng, Han Ruwei, and Ling Qishan from Genchi Pavilion. Yinzun? How many people have you killed? You are an enemy of the Grey Mist Sea, and you are shaking the trees with your worms. You deserve death. His buttocks? A fat guy with a rotten ass dares to show his respects, even worse than a dog. Jin Baifeng cursed loudly at the 10 tablets with 2 evil spirits. She deliberately wanted to show her loyalty, so she scolded her the most. However, as she scolded her, the master of time and space palace found that the pain between his eyebrows was even stronger. Wrong. It should, there really is some mysterious cause and effect. At this moment, the master of the time and space palace had a clear feeling. After all, Jin Baifeng was on the road, and the cause and effect she brought was far better than that of ordinary cultivators. The end of 10,000 paths is harmful to people. What kind of hero are you? You are an executioner, a bitch, a scumbag. At this time, Jin Baifeng had already begun to point fingers and curse at Wandao ending. The space-time master's eyebrows felt as if there were needle pricks, which made him a little unbearable, and he couldn't help but drink. Old shrew, do you need to scold me so harshly? Can you be so humming polite? If you curse again, I'll kill you. It was entirely because his eyebrows hurt so much that he subconsciously cursed. However, Jin Baifeng, who was trying his best to express himself below, was suddenly stunned. What? Lord of Grey Mist Sea, please allow yourself to be more polite. Are you scolding yourself too much? The Lord of Grey Mist Sea even wants to kill himself because of this? What the hell is this? She almost doubts life. Don't you, my lord, hate the 10 deities and 2 evils, and the end of 10,000 paths? Others were also startled. Something is not quite right. However, Han Ruwei reacted the fastest and hurriedly knelt down and said, My lord, please calm down, my lord, please calm down. We have brought you all the original factors of this world, don't kill us. He was really scared and presented the huge alchemy furnace on his back. It really only takes a thought for this kind of character to kill them. Therefore, we must seize the time to make the adults in Grey Mist Sea happy and see the value of themselves and others. Otherwise, you're dead. But, right now, in the originally clear sky, there was indeed a sudden change of wind and thunder. Boom boom. Lightning and thunder roared, and the rain poured down. Suddenly, thunder and lightning came from the sky, tearing through the void and heading towards the golden and green wind. Jin Baifeng spits at the end of 10,000 paths, humiliates 10 deities and 2 evils. At this moment, it attracts the attack of heaven. Their behavior is unacceptable to heaven. This is unjust. The vast thunder calamity falls. No. Kang Tian has feelings and wants to target them. There is no cause and effect, but the sky doesn't allow it. They saved this world, so naturally no one is allowed to treat them like this. Ordinary cultivators can't arouse the wrath of heaven by scolding 10 deities and 2 villains, but every word and deed of those on the road is felt by heaven and earth. It's okay for them to be obedient and treacherous on weekdays, but now they are directly scolding them in broad daylight, so it attracts the attention of heaven and earth. Tianfa is coming. Many people are frightened. The faces of Jin Baifeng and Han Ruwei also changed drastically. Even though they are on the road, it is still difficult to face this heavenly way. There may be death. However, on the grey mist throne, the master of time and space palace looked on with cold eyes and raised his hand at this moment. Grey mist filled the sky in front of him, and there were thousands of thunderstorms, but none of them could penetrate his grey mist. Whoever worships me, the sky cannot be cut down. The master of time and space palace spoke indifferently, and with a wave of his hand, the alchemy furnace of Han Ruwei and others also flew in front of him. Haha, is it a world origin factor? Very good. With this thing, destroying this world can only be done with a backhand. He sneered, and immediately prepared to open the alchemy furnace, take out the source, and feed it to the poisonous insects. But, at this moment, a loud shout suddenly sounded. Stop! In the sky outside Pao City, suddenly a spear shot out, shocking the world, and stabbed directly towards the Lord of Time and Space Palace. The immortal grandson has arrived. His white hair fluttered, and with a decisive shot, he unleashed the strongest power of a man on the road, and the Taoist landscape was also emerging. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. The grandson is immortal, He has become the one on the road. He actually dares to assassinate a big shot in the grey mist sea. Is he looking for death? Haha, this traitor, I tried to kill him many times but failed to do so. Now I have thrown myself into a trap, it's just right. There was a lot of discussion in the field. The Long Sun Immortal's spear had already reached 100 feet in front of the Master of Time and Space, and he stabbed directly into the eyes of the Master of Time and Space. However, the Master of Time and Space Palace just sat indifferently, without even raising his hand. His eyes were just looking at Chang Sun Immortal's spear. The tip of Chang Sun's immortal spear had already touched his eyelids. However, there is no way to move forward at all. There is something interesting about being a nine-law master, but unfortunately, you are too weak. The Master of Time and Space Palace spoke coldly. A light flashed in his eyes. Boom! Chang Sun Bulletin Me was immediately knocked away. Do it! Chang Sun Bumi vomited blood and shouted suddenly. In the void in front of the Master of Time and Space Hall, another figure actually appeared. Ji Wuden. He suddenly punched the Lord of Time and Space Palace. However, the Lord of Time and Space Palace said coldly. Little tricks. He had already seen through everything and was completely disdainful, saying. So what if I let you hit me? I won't be hurt at all, but you will be severely injured. He was very disdainful and calmly let Ji Wuden beat him up. However, Ji Wuden suddenly turned his fist, and then punched the Lord of Time and Space in the crotch. When the Master of Time and Space Palace saw this, his eyes suddenly jumped and he said. You dare. However, Ji Wuden's punch actually slipped between the legs of the Master of Time and Space without hitting the balls. I wiped it, but it didn't hit, it was too small, it was a miscalculation. Ji Wuden shouted sadly. When the Master of Time and Space Hall heard this, he suddenly became furious and said. You wanna die? He slapped him hard. Suddenly, Ji Wuden flew out and crashed onto the ground. All the bones in his body were broken. If I allow you two ants to die easily, I will not be the Lord of Time and Space Palace. The Master of Time and Space Palace spoke with cold eyes. Palace Master, I have the art of cutting into pieces with 1,000 cuts, and I can make them endure the death penalty. At this time, Jin Baifeng spoke flatteringly. The Master of Time and Space Hall nodded indifferently and said. Then leave it to you. Chang Sun Bumi and Ji Wuden were already seriously injured, and they were captured by Han Ruwei, Ning Tianji, and others. Jin Baifeng, on the other hand, approached coldly, with a blue knife in his hand. She wanted to cut her eldest grandson Bulletin Me and Ji Wuden into pieces with 1,000 knives? How could you do this? At this time, an indignant voice came, and a young man came over. He said angrily. You are all from the true ancestor realm. You have received the blessings of the end of 10,000 paths and the 10 lords and 2 evils to survive until today. How can you attack a loyal person without fear of divine punishment? He is clearly Yang Tian. Haha, God's punishment. Jin Baifeng Leng said. You little bastard from the Yang family, even Tian Fa can't do anything to us. Later, you will die too. But, she just finished speaking. Above her head, space suddenly tore apart. Then, a fat body suddenly fell out of it. Bang! It hit her directly. Suddenly, everyone in the venue was a little surprised. They all looked at Yang Tian in surprise. Is this guy following his words? Yang Tian was also stunned. Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 967. And at this moment, Paoyas above the sky. A group of people appeared. Astonishingly, they were Huayan, Huaisha and others who visited the forbidden area. Along with them were Ao Wushuan and Song Ji Yuan. What's going on? Why is there a sign of a natural attack in front of us? Huayan was a little surprised. They were already on their way, but later, Wu Jianghe threatened the world sacrifice temple, and they went there temporarily to investigate, thus delaying their trip. After all, Wu Jianghe is one of the most critical figures in the true ancestor realm today. It would be best if he could find out the root cause and then come to meet the Lord of Grey Mist Sea. However, they found nothing. They only knew that Wu Jianghe, Ji Wuden and other guardians were likely to come to Pao City. When Ao Wushuan saw this, he was also full of anxiety and said, "Elder Huayan, even Tianfa has appeared in Pao City. I'm afraid it's not a good place. Otherwise, why don't we go there first?" He was a little worried. Mainly, after their investigation, it was basically certain that Wu Jianghe would come here to cause trouble. And Ao Wushuan knew very well that Wu Jianghe probably had some ulterior relationship with that evil little mountain village. After all, during the Demon Desolate War, Ao Wushuan went to see Big Black Dog, Dead Fatty and others in person, but it was later revealed that it was Wu Jianghe who killed all the enemies. From that time on, Ao Wushuan had linked Wu Jianghe to the small mountain village. Wherever there is the Wujiang River, there are probably small mountain villages. Moreover, Wu Jianghe is definitely not as scary as that small mountain village. Hearing this, Huayan said coldly, "It's just a heavenly attack, what does it count? Didn't you see? After the heavenly attack appeared, countless grey fogs appeared, blocking everything. Even the heavens can't cut it down. This shows how powerful the Lord of Grey Mist Sea is." Huayan is very confident. When Ao Wushuan heard this, he was silent for a moment and said, "Elder, you are right, I wish you will never encounter Tianfa." Huayan. Is there something wrong with Ao Wushuan? Next to him, Song Ji Yuan was shocked when he heard this. He looked at Ao Wushuan with his heart in his throat. "Why did you start blessing now?" He felt a little panicked and subconsciously moved farther away from Huayan. Huayan said, "Come on, follow me." Immediately, he headed towards Pao City first. But, not far. Boom! A thick thunderbolt suddenly fell and struck towards Huayan. Thunder strikes? Seeing this, Huayan was shocked and said, "No, we were swept away by the aftermath of Tianfa." He was shocked and turned pale, and hurriedly took action to resist. Protect the bones of the Forbidden Lord. Another Supreme Elder, Huaisha, also immediately stepped forward to counterattack. The two Supreme Elders were both overwhelmed by the thunder. At this moment, Song Ji Yuan from behind looked at the scene and felt a little scared. He glanced at Ao Wushuan anxiously and said, "Brother Wushuan, from now on, if I do anything wrong, you must tell me and I will definitely listen to you." He was really scared. Ao Wushuan. At this moment, in front of Pao City, the void was suddenly torn apart, and a fat man fell from it, hitting Jin Baifeng accurately. This scene surprised everyone. What's going on? It should be noted that Jin Baifeng is on the road. At this level, will he be hit by foreign objects falling from the sky? Impossible. Everyone looked attentively, only to see a fat man sitting on Jin Baifeng, retching a little. Under his buttocks, Jin Baifeng had his legs straightened, but he couldn't struggle. Wu Dade was dizzy at the moment and muttered, "It's a good thing that I didn't eat much breakfast today, otherwise I would have been fooled by you, this damn bitch." He fainted from the teleportation array. "Damn it, what did I sit on, my butt is so tight." A little more awake, he looked down. When he saw that there was a skinny, old woman under her butt, he jumped up in a hurry. "I'm going to rub it, what are you doing? Do you want to touch you, fat man?" Wu Dade asked. Hearing this, everyone was speechless. Damn, who is this fat man? He slapped the old lady Jin Baifeng on the ground and made her sit down on the ground. Not only did she dislike Jin Baifeng's butt, she also said that she was cheating on him. Too much. Jin Baifeng also struggled to get up, but she felt as if many of her bones had been broken. She suddenly became extremely angry and said, "Damn fat man, you, who are you? I will cut you into pieces with 1,000 knives." Her murderous intent broke out and she was filled with hatred. As a road warrior, who dared to be disrespectful to her in the slightest? Today I suffered such a great shame and humiliation. Wu Dade, on the other hand, said carelessly, "I'm from Fatty's village, here to hunt." As he spoke, he scanned the field and suddenly saw 13 stone tablets in front of him. Wu Dade suddenly frowned. These stone tablets, clearly belonged to them. Actually, being spurned by others made him very dirty. At this time, the space cracks in the sky were further torn apart. I saw a group of people walking out. A young man with a wooden sword on his waist and a plain green shirt. A girl in purple clothes, with graceful limbs, skin like cream, bright eyes and good vision, is carrying a drawing board on her back. It is Xiling. Subakian was wearing a light white elegant dress, very calm, and she was looking at the field calmly at this moment. Beside them, a big yellow dog looked haughty and glanced in all directions. That's right, the big black dog has transformed again. In fact, it was not just itself, it also covered up the auras of Wu Dade, Lin Zhijian, Xiling, and Subakian, and applied a supreme blinding method. Therefore, even though Xiling and others have nothing to hide at this moment, in the eyes of outsiders, their appearance will be distorted, and their aura will change. This is also the reason why a group of ultimates did not recognize Wu Dade. The fat man they saw in their eyes was not the same person as the legendary hip master. After all, the big black dog was still very cautious when facing the grey fog sea this time. Once the news of the reincarnation of the 10 gods and 2 evils comes out, it will cause a lot of associations and speculations in the grey mist sea. It is best not to let people know about it. Wow, see through this emperor's weakness and helplessness. There is a hint of cunning in the eyes of the big yellow dog. The blinding method it imposes on Xiling and others is a real blinding method, covering up their aura. But what it imposes on itself is easy to see through. In this way, the enemy will misjudge and think that the big black dog has no strength and cannot even cover its own aura. This kind of misjudgment will create opportunities. It's waiting to trick people. That's the end of 10,000 paths, and the tablets of the 10 evil spirits in the Hall of Heroes. How come they appear here? At this time, Yu Linglong next to her suddenly spoke, pointing to a row of stone tablets in front of Pao City. It's the grey mist creature. It took the end of 10,000 paths and the 10 stone tablets of the 2 evils and placed them here to make these traitors despise them. At this time, Yang Tian spoke excitedly. When he saw Wu Dade and the big black dog, others couldn't recognize them, but he was extremely sure. Because he and his ancestor had similar experiences. Let Wu Dade sit on his butt? Moreover, it was also caused by the big black dog. He knew that what was coming were the 10 gods and spirits. But on the grey mist throne, the master of time and space's eyes instantly fell on the big yellow dog. There was a sneer in his eyes. You bitch, do you think I can't see through you? He has discovered that there is something wrong with the big yellow dog's aura, and there is a trick on it. Therefore, he directly confirmed that the big yellow dog must be the big black dog in disguise. One of the 10 spirits, even though he has lived for so many years, he doesn't look very strong. He sneered. The big black dog, one of the 10 spirits, appears. What about Xuanhuan? He guessed that they were hiding in secret, waiting for support. However, he didn't care at all. Today, Xuanhuan and Big Black Dog will definitely not be able to escape. However, there is no rush, this dog must be very cunning if it can live for so many years. You must be 100% sure of killing it. Well, you have to use the destiny pen. This is the most stable. As for the destiny pen, even though it is written by the true ancestor or below, whoever dies will die, but it still takes some time to establish a causal connection. The destiny pen cannot kill unseen people. The holder of the destiny pen must concentrate and meditate, and gain insight into the true identity of the enemy, in order to establish a connection between the destiny pen and the object being written. Otherwise, the master of time and space palace would not have to come to the true ancestor realm in person, he could just write the name of the big black dog in the sea of gray mist. The master of the time and space hall immediately sent a message and told Liu Ba and the others in the secret to inform the destiny pen to prepare. Then he stood still and waited. In front of Broken Fog City. Damn it! Wu Date suddenly became furious when he heard Yang Tian's words. Although he and others have been reborn, this stone tablet is still the tablet of their previous life. To be insulted like this. Moreover, at a glance, he saw that on his honorable tablet. Damn, there's so much thick phlegm. You guys are such shameless people. You sacrificed your life and blood to save some of your weaklings. He couldn't help but curse, his nose was crooked with anger, he pointed at Jin Baifeng and others who were on the road and said. You old immortals, you have ruined the atmosphere of the entire true ancestor realm. As the strongest people in the true ancestor realm, with this little virtue, even if you go to the sea of grey mist, you are still a human being. Be the role of a licking dog. I really want to sit down and kill you, forget it. Suddenly, many people on the road were furious. How dare you insult us like this? Ling Qishan's face was cold. Young man, do you know who you are talking to? Han Ruwei threatened coldly and said. Your little willfulness will bring unimaginable disaster to the clan and sect behind you. Jin Baifeng was even more furious and said. Why are you talking to him so much? Kill him, search for his soul, and then kill everyone related to him in the world. As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly slapped Wu Dade with her palm. The wind and thunder in this palm stirred up, and the power of the one on the road was fully displayed, and the surrounding original energy dissipated instantly, as if it was about to destroy the world. Immediately, the faces of the cultivators around him changed drastically and they hurriedly dispersed, fearing that they would be affected. Wu Dade shook his head and said. You want to be killed so much, fatty, I'll make it happen for you. After saying that, he suddenly turned around, facing away from Jin Baifeng, then raised his buttocks, and with a bang, his whole body shot towards Jin Baifeng like a cannonball. You're looking for death, I'm going to beat your ass. Jin Baifeng was extremely angry. This fat man actually dared to point his butt at her. The original power in her body exploded, and this palm was enough to kill dozens of people who opened the door. However, suddenly, she felt a terrifying force coming from her, and her palm was suddenly blasted away. That terrifying fat butt smashed into the face. Ah! Jin Baifeng let out a shrill scream, and his whole body flew out immediately, hitting Manzun's stone tablet not far away. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. What's going on? It should be noted that Jin Baifeng is on the road, and he is the strongest in the entire true ancestor realm. However, now he was actually kicked and knocked away. Can't even catch a move. In an instant, everyone looked at Wu Dade, staring at his butt, staring at him non-stop. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 968. Everyone was staring at Wu Dade's butt. He is the ultimate. No, he doesn't have the aura of the ultimate at all. Did he defeat Jin Baifeng purely with his physical body? What kind of body? What's this girl's butt? Everyone was talking in horror. Can you suppress Jin Baifeng, the ultimate, with one hip? How scary is this fat man? Strong men such as Han Ruwei and Ling Qishan were all suddenly afraid. At this time, when did such a terrifying body practitioner appear? Come together and kill him, this fat man is weird. Han Ruwei suddenly shouted. He took action directly. Yes, take action and kill him. He just opens the door to the realm, and he can already threaten us. We can't let him grow up. Immediately, they went straight towards Wu Dade. Everyone knows that those who hit the road are invincible. Even if those who open the door are strong, they are like ants in front of those who hit the road. Today, the three major players in Genshi Pavilion took action at the same time to kill the person who opened the door. This is the first time I have seen this situation. Even on the Grey Mist throne, the Master of Time and Space Palace frowned slightly. This fat man has such a strong body. He actually knocked away those who were on the way with his cultivation level of opening the door. This can be compared with the strongest vicious clans in the Grey Mist Sea, right? After the dog is killed, the fat man must be captured and studied. Maybe it has something to do with that barbarian lord back then. He whispered. Although he did not see Wu Dade's true identity, he still felt that this fat man was unusual. At this moment, a voice came from his mind. Reporting to the palace master, everything is ready, the dog slaughter begins. It's Lu Ba's voice. Immediately, the Master of Time and Space stood up and looked at the big black dog indifferently. Here we go. The dog that once made the entire Grey Mist Sea miserable and committed heinous crimes. Today, I will die. At this moment, Wu Dade was besieged by many strong men. Damn dog, come and help. Wu Dade shouted. The big black dog stood high in the sky and said disdainfully. You can't even defeat me as a human darling. You might as well hit your head on Manzun's tombstone and die. It doesn't care at all. Damn you bitch, you will be punished. While Wu Dade was cursing, he was overwhelmed by the sea of attacks. He hurriedly adjusted various postures to meet the frenzied attacks. Hit him, beat him to death. The big black dog looked down, muttering to himself. But, at this moment, it suddenly felt something. It suddenly raised its head, looked into the void around it, and said, Wow, who the hell is plotting against this emperor? It has had a premonition that some unknown force of cause and effect is coming. Boom. In an instant, the void exploded, and a terrifying karma thunder exploded towards the big black dog. This kind of divine thunder is drawn from the ocean of cause and effect. Once it is bombed, everything in the world will be destroyed by the power of cause and effect and disappear completely. This kind of power, even if faced by the overlord, can only wait to die. In fact, this is the terrifying thing about the Destiny Pen. It can, to a certain extent, mobilize the power of cause and effect to attack from the ocean of cause and effect. This pen was originally the creation pen of the Supreme Creation, but was later modified by the Supreme Figure in the Sea of Grey Fog, making it even more terrifying. Although it is far inferior to the legendary Xuanhuan pen, it is still very incredible. The big black dog also suddenly became furious and said, Wow, damn, you're playing dirty tricks. It scurried away. However, the god of cause and effect was faster than it. After it flew thousands of miles, it still exploded on it. Boom. With a loud noise, the void was annihilated, the rules of space disappeared silently, and the thousands of miles of space where the big black dog was located was wiped out by the power of cause and effect. This scene is truly shocking. For a moment, everyone in the audience was paying attention. Even Wu Dade and a group of ultimates who were fighting below were shocked. What a power this is, it makes people feel irresistible. Terrible. All cause and effect in that space were directly wiped out. Everyone murmured subconsciously. Oh no, damn dog, you're not really dead, are you? When Wu Dade saw this, he was also a little dazed and said. It's over, I guess not even the body is left, the dog meat is gone. That's a pity. However, he just finished speaking. Wow, you are your pet, I will kill you. A dog barking suddenly sounded from the annihilation room of cause and effect. A big black dog suddenly jumped out of it. The black hair all over its body stood on end, and its hair was messed up by the explosive karma thunder. However, there was not a single wound, and it was still as powerful as a tiger. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. What's going on? The god of cause and effect, which can destroy everything, didn't kill this big black dog. Isn't this bitch too stubborn? No, it's a big black dog. Could it be that he is the only one among the 10 spirits who did not participate in the war? Below, someone suddenly spoke, guessing the identity of the big black dog. It should be it. How can an ordinary dog be so strong? The 10 spirits are back, it's over, Lord Grey Mist, kill it quickly. Many strong men reacted, but they all panicked. If the big black dog is allowed to live, they are doomed and will be liquidated. Therefore, they are all requesting that the Lord of Time and Space Palace take action to kill the big black dog. At this moment, the Master of Time and Space Palace also frowned. How could this big black dog not die? That is the destiny pen. Huh? No. But, immediately, he discovered that the big black dog, with its 3 souls and 7 souls, was about to disperse, and it was not far from death. Haha, you damn dog, your death is imminent, and you are still pretending to me. He shouted, kill this dog. At this moment, in the void, a terrifying pen tip appeared. It could be vaguely seen that the pen was held by a big red-haired hand and was writing something. Seeing this scene, the big black dog was really shocked. It deliberately pretends to be weak in order to induce the mastermind behind it to continue taking action. Wow, it turns out to be your previous life. The big black dog couldn't help but look at Lin Jujian. Lin Jujian also felt something at this moment. He raised his eyes, looked at the big red-haired hand, and then stepped out. Deep in the sky, the big red-haired hand also stopped for it. At this moment, a red-haired wind suddenly blew in the sky. Red hair covers the sky, as if the end is coming, gods and demons are wailing, ominous and strange, time, space and time will freeze. At this moment, on the earth, many ultimates, major forces, sects, etc. all felt a fatal feeling of heart palpitations. The red-haired whirlwind blew from the sky. The Spirit King, the opener, all knelt down. On the ground, crawling and trembling. Even those who were on the road couldn't hold on anymore. They fell to the ground and looked up to the sky in horror. What's this? Ominous manifestation, is the end coming? No. The legendary red hair. Once the red hair appears, the world will perish. Ningtianji, Hanruwei, Dugujintian, etc. were all eclipsed. Even the Master of Time and Space Palace was suddenly startled at this moment. He looked into the depths of the red-haired whirlwind and said, "What happened? I asked you to kill a dog, what are you doing?" He felt that the evil corpse of the supreme creation was, out of control. Sleep. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 969. Red hair curls into the sky. Finally, he knelt down and prostrated. At this moment, not only Pao City, but also this terrifying scene was felt by the entire True Ancestor realm. Did something weird happen in the direction of Mist-Breaking City? It's so scary. Red hair is the red hair that represents the most ominous thing in legend. Everyone in the world is speculating a lot and is very worried. Paoya's who? The terrifying red-haired whirlwind slowly descended. Then, in the red-haired whirlwind, a terrifying humanoid creature suddenly stepped out of it. That is, an existence covered with endless red hair. The red hair is long and thick, exuding strange power, and the red-haired monster also holds a pen in its hand. At this moment, the red-haired monster looked directly at Lin Zhichen. "My shadow." The red-haired monster whispered. "You were born in brokenness, and reversed between cause and effect. Then, I will write your destiny, and let you return to silence." The red-haired monster raised his pen, and the destiny pen crossed across the sky. In an instant, behind the red-haired monster, countless terrifying talismans appeared, and there was an endless intertwining of reality and reality in the holy land of creation. No. He is the supreme being of creation. Seeing this scene, among the many ultimates below, someone suddenly spoke up. Supreme creation. As soon as this statement came out, everyone was extremely shocked. The supreme being of creation actually turned into a red-haired monster. It turns out that the legend is true. The celestial master and his entourage are prone to strange things, mostly unlucky in their later years. Why did he attack that young man? At the same time, many people's eyes fell on Lin Zhichen. The red-haired monster's destiny pen has already started writing. Die. The pen tip dropped. Boom. At this moment, a terrifying rune covered the sky, detonating the power of death and cause and effect directly from the underworld. The vast power of death swept directly towards Lin Zhichen. "No one can write my destiny," Lin Zhichen whispered, and he said. "In this life, my destiny is only in my own hands." Death and cause and effect swept over him. He suddenly picked up a pen and wrote the same word. Born. The runes are also shocking, completely opposite to the death talisman of the red-haired monster. His talisman is full of vitality, and the power of life is like a big embankment, lying in front of it. The cause and effect of death and life collide, the void is annihilated, and everything becomes invisible and inaudible. Finally, cause and effect dispersed. In the sky, the red-haired whirlwind was still flying. Opposite the red-haired monster, Lin Zhichen showed his temperament and was unscathed. No. He was not his true appearance just now. Someone spoke in surprise. At this moment, Lin Zhichen had revealed his true appearance. He used the Vulcan pen. The Vulcan pen was made of phoenix feathers. It was of such high status that the big black dog's deception could not cover it up. How come he is exactly the same as the portrait of the supreme creation? How can this be? The talisman he just drew can actually compete with the supreme creation, and he looks like this. Could it be that he is the supreme creation? Everyone in the world exclaimed. This scene is so amazing. Could it be that the supreme being of creation among the 10 is still alive? Impossible, he is obviously dead, and his body has red hair. Ling Qishan's face was ugly and a little scared. It's impossible for the 10 statues to come back to life, this must be a lie. Han Ruwei didn't want to believe it. If the 10 gods are still alive, this is simply unacceptable. At this moment, the masters of the time and space palace stood up from the grey mist throne. He stared at Lin Zhichen. The supreme creation, reincarnation. In just a moment, he almost understood everything. The red-haired evil corpse lost control because it sensed the aura of reincarnation. At this moment, countless thoughts flashed through his mind. One of the 10 deities was actually reborn. What does this mean? What happened in this world? Is there any cause and effect that Grey Mist Sea doesn't know about? No. Only then did he realize that he, Grey Mist Sea, seemed to have far underestimated the complexity of this world. Could it be that the backhand left behind at the end of 10,000 paths is not just the 9 methods? Also, 10 reincarnations. He thought of a lot. This reincarnation must be killed. Murderous intent burst out in his eyes. As soon as he thought about it, he immediately issued another order. Suddenly, somewhere in a secret room, a poisonous corpse wakes up. At this moment, in the sky, the red-haired monster is holding the destiny pen and is still taking action. Death. Lonely. Destroy. Fall from the sky. Funeral. Defeat. Collapse. Death of a prince. He wrote Lin Zhujian's fate crazily. In the ocean of cause and effect, various causes and effects representing death emerge in endlessly, like big waves, making it dizzying to see. Even if an overlord-level creature faced these causes and effects, they would probably have died thousands of times. However, Lin Zhujian held the Vulcan pen and wrote out the talismans one by one. Live. Live. Long. The two collided violently. At this moment, there was an inexplicable aura approaching Lin Zhujian. Subakian, who was watching the battle, suddenly changed his expression and said, "Wrong." She took a step forward and waved her hand. In an instant, those invisible, colorless, and tasteless poisons were suddenly revealed. It was a variety of rays of light and poisonous gas, which had formed a terrifying field, almost completely surrounding Lin Zhujian. Subakian quickly raised her hand and took out a medicine bottle. With a thought, the medicine field appeared. When the medicine was scattered, it directly covered Lin Zhujian's surroundings through the medicine field. Suddenly, those terrifying poisonous gases disappeared. As she took action, the sky somewhere was suddenly torn open. I saw a woman already appearing. She is dressed in plain clothes and looks demure and elegant. Even though she has been dead for eternity, she still maintains her peerless elegance. She has not aged at all, nor has there been any trace of being eroded by the gray mist. She stepped out, the wind blew past her, and then blew into a valley. Suddenly, the valley turned into a dead place. All living creatures were poisoned to death, and the earth turned black, even extending towards the outside world. This, the legendary medicine master, is her. In front of Broken Fog City, someone spoke in silence. "Yao Zun, did you show up too?" "No, why are they two exactly the same?" Even Yao Zun was reborn. Everyone was shocked. Not just the supreme creation. How many reincarnations have there been among the 10 deities and 2 evil spirits? I can't imagine that we have been in the true ancestor realm for so many years and we don't know anything about it. They will die. Even if they are reincarnated, they will definitely be killed today. If they don't die, we will be finished. There was a lot of discussion in the whole place. Many people were afraid and couldn't help but speak out, hoping that Yao Zun would reincarnate and die. The master of time and space palace even shrank his pupils. Actually, even Yao Zun was reborn. What happened? At this moment, he deeply felt that the water in this world was too deep and there was definitely a big problem. Grey mist sea miscalculated. But fortunately, I was well prepared this time, and victory is still in my hands. He whispered, then suddenly yelled, saying, "Pale scroll, come out." Suddenly, in the hidden depths, there was a terrifying white paper that swept across the sky and illuminated the field. This pale scroll directly covered the red-haired monster, Lin Zhujian, Yao Zun Poison, Subakian, and everyone present. Then, there was secret power flowing in the pale scroll, and everyone suddenly disappeared from the scene. Everything has entered the painting. Including the red-haired monster, Lin Zhujian, Yao Zun Dushi, Subakian, Tianchai Zuchendong, Xian Dujing, Genshi Pavilion, and many other forces. They are all absorbed into the pale scroll. Ha 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 ha. Seeing this scene, the master of time and space hall let out a proud laugh and said loudly, "So what about reincarnation? You will eventually die in this life. When you enter the painting, your destiny can only be controlled. In the past life and this life, everything will perish." He smiled. Beside him, overlords such as Liu Bie and Xuanhuan also appeared. The master of the palace has a wonderful plan. Catch them all in one fell swoop. From now on, there will be no future troubles in this world. They all laughed. The master of the time and space palace looked at the evil corpse of the painter and said, Put it on, use your pen to destroy everything in the painting. Painter Xuanhuan mechanically waved his pen, and the stroke of destruction was about to fall. In the pale scroll, everything will be destroyed with her brush. Hey, sister, you have lost your mind. If you do this, you will regret it if you wake up one day. And in the sky, beside the painted girl in purple skirt, Xuanhuan, a girl in black skirt, couldn't help but sigh and speak. The painter's eyes were dull, but he turned a deaf ear. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, I won't let her do anything stupid. At this time, a clear voice suddenly sounded. I saw a girl in purple clothes emerging from the void. It's Xiling. She was not sucked into the pale scroll. Seeing her appear, Xuanhuan's dull eyes suddenly fell on her. In front of the grey mist throne, the extremely proud master of time and space suddenly looked stunned. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 970. All the creatures in the field have been included in the pale scroll. All it takes is painting the evil corpse to put pen to paper, and everything will perish. Whether it's 10 evil corpses or reincarnation. But, at this time, a girl appeared. She has bright eyes and good vision, exquisite and beautiful facial features, her skin is like mutton fat jade, and her big eyes are like a clear autumn lake, and she is extremely beautiful. Xiling. When the pale scroll came out just now, Xiling felt it, so she waved her paintbrush to protect herself. Now, she finally appears to stop the evil corpse of Painter. Painting Lord, are you reincarnated too? The Lord of Time and Space Palace couldn't help but roar. Are all the 10 deities and 2 villains reincarnated? This is really possible. Xiling smiled slightly and said. You are so smart, you guessed it right. The Lord of Time and Space Palace. He stared at Xiling and suddenly said. Stop her and kill her. Don't let her interfere with the evil corpse of Xuanhuan. Now that the overall situation has been decided, the pale scroll can directly destroy the big black dog and the reincarnations of Xuanhuan and others. Therefore, in order to block Xiling, it is best to kill her directly so as not to interfere with the pale picture scroll. Liu Ba and the other 4 overlords immediately rushed towards Xiling. Xiling was very calm and suddenly picked up the brush and started painting. Her brush seems to control space. Ah! Suddenly, the master of time and space hall let out a shrill scream. Liu Ba and others suddenly turned around. But all they saw was a big black dog, jumping out of nowhere. The dog's mouth curled up, clearly showing a proud and evil smile. The master of time and space palace, however, covered his legs and hurriedly backed away. He was so painful that gray sweat came out, and he said. It sneaked up on me, no, it hurts. He screamed miserably. Just now, the big black dog jumped out of the void, right next to him, and bit him. Hearing this, Liu Ba and others were shocked. Hasn't this dog been sucked away by the pale scroll? No, it's the reincarnation of the painter who is causing trouble. Xuanhuan's expression changed, and he suddenly thought that this must have been Xiling's move. In fact, he was right. The moment the pale scroll appeared, the big black dog immediately sent a message to Xiling. Let Xiling keep it too. When the master of time and space hall and others thought it had been sucked away by the scroll, it suddenly appeared. The sneak attack was successful, no, the egg was obtained. Wow, I will bite your throat with my next bite. The big black dog has dark eyes and bared teeth in a direct threat. With that said, it turned into a black shadow and rushed towards the Lord of Time and Space Palace. Kill this dog first, kill him, this damned beast. The Master of Time and Space Hall hurriedly shouted. He is now sweating in pain and is not very good at fighting back. Immediately, Liu Bie and other overlords rushed back to protect the Lord of Time and Space while surrounding and killing Dehei. And the other side. Zai Ling looked at the evil corpse of Huazun. Huazun Xieji looked at Zai Ling and suddenly showed a smile. This smile is completely subconscious and instinctive. It seemed that she was not hostile when she saw Zai Ling. In fact, almost all her sense of autonomy has disappeared. What dominates her is the obsession she had before her death. Maybe before she died, she didn't have the slightest hostility towards herself who was reincarnated in the downstream years, and she even had deep blessings, so she smiled naturally. Zai Ling was a little confused and said, "She." The woman in black skirt sighed and said, "Before she died, she lost her most important memory. The pale scroll should have been left behind by her. The original scroll was probably not pale. It depicted something very important, she wants to get it back. If she can be found, she may be able to escape from this state and regain her sanity." Hearing this, Xiling thought. But, what was the most important thing that I forgot in my previous life? She concentrated and used the phoenix feather pen to draw a barrier, blocking the surface of the pale scroll. In this way, when painting the evil corpse, the painting will not directly touch the world in the painting, so as not to accidentally kill good people. At the same time, she can also observe the stroke order of the painting. Since it is the most important thing, there must be some clues between the instinctive writing and painting. Zai Ling looked at the chaotic and mechanical brush of the painter attentively. Next to her, Xuanhuan Si was a little surprised. She looked at the pen in Xiling's hand in disbelief. That brush is too scary, right? You can actually draw a barrier at will, and can it be effective on something of the level of a pale scroll? Now, in the pale picture, the picture scroll is a world of its own. What happened? We were involved in the painting. It's impossible. How could there be such a terrifying picture in this world that even a person on the road can accommodate? How do we get out? Everyone who entered the pale scroll was panicking at this moment. Han Ruwei, Jin Baifeng, etc., and even Chang Sunbumi, Ji Wuden, etc. were all a little confused at this moment. There is only a vast expanse of white left in this world, and there is nothing real except space. The vast white space was endless, and they were in it, not knowing where to go. Die. But, at this time, a hoarse voice sounded. The evil corpse of the supreme creation entered the world in the painting, but there was no stagnation. The destiny pen in his hand drew a series of terrifying talismans, destroying the sky and the earth, almost killing the sun, moon, and stars. Those talismans, mixed with the terrifying waves of red hair, aroused endless power of cause and effect. Strands of red hair were flying everywhere. Ah! Suddenly, Ling Qishan, the ultimate master of Genshi Pavilion, let out a shrill scream. He was stained by red hair. In an instant, his body rotted, and an ominous force descended upon him. Layers of white fluff grew out, and he suddenly looked like a white monkey. Then, he suddenly moved to the side, grabbed the two door openers, and started chewing them. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. He is tainted with evil. It's over. Even those on the road can't handle this kind of weirdness. When the others saw this, they all hurriedly moved out of the way, fearing that it would affect themselves. You can't beat me. Lin Zhuchen whispered. He was opposite the supreme creation, and he waved the Vulcan pen in his hand. In an instant, a fire talisman appeared. It was formed by the condensed phoenix divine fire. The light was so brilliant that people could not open their eyes, and it seemed that it could burn away all the evil in the world. Suddenly, all the talismans that created the supreme evil corpse collapsed. The red hairs all over the sky were ignited one after another, turned into black smoke, and disappeared. The phoenix divine fire restrains all ominous things. Your pen. The red-haired monster's gaze fell on the pen in Lin Zhuchen's hand. Lin Zhuchen smiled and said, "Sorry, your pen is too weak." At this moment, not far away, even the white-haired heavenly master Chen Dong was shocked. This pen is actually stronger than the creation pen. He stepped forward excitedly and leaned his body into the remaining warmth of the phoenix divine fire in the air. The white hair on his body slowly melted away. This can't be a pen made of real phoenix feathers, right? Otherwise, how could it have such a powerful exorcism effect? Chen Dong was overjoyed. At the same time, he looked at the red-haired monster and said, "Stop fighting. You can't beat the reincarnation. Your pen is too bad. Throw it away. Come here and burn your hair off." As he spoke, he turned over so that he could be roasted evenly in the remaining heat of the phoenix true fire. When the red-haired monster heard this, he roared loudly, seemingly very angry, and suddenly broke the destiny pen in his hand. Then, he suddenly pulled out the red hair on his body one by one. Soon, a special mark formed on his hairless area, which was a talisman. That was his real name, Talisman, condensed from his celestial master Cultivation. At this moment, behind the red-haired monster, an ethereal world appeared, which was his Taoist scenery. In the Taoist scenery, there is a shocking vision. It is a vast river, with a total of 108 tributaries converging in it. Each tributary flows from the origin of the world, with different breadths, and converges together to form a surging river with yellow turbidity. But it can make the soul immortal. When Lin Zhuchen saw this, he couldn't help being surprised and said, "The Yellow River. This is a type of terrain in the Destiny Talisman records, and it is also the type he wants to collect." Lin Zhuchen is approaching success in cultivating the Talisman of Destiny, but he still needs to find the 9 most peculiar fortune-telling terrains in the world. The terrain of creation between heaven and earth is the most profound and original talisman. Once it is imprinted by its terrain, the power of the celestial master will be extremely terrifying. The Xuanhuan River is one of them. He didn't expect that he would actually find himself in his previous life. And at this moment, another terrain appeared next to the red-haired monster. It was a vast sea, with a dead blue color on the whole, and it was extremely quiet, as if all souls would perish when they got there. Sea of Soul Silence. Lin Zhuchen said, "This is another type of terrain created by nature." In his previous life, he actually found 2 kinds. The Yellow Spring is a great river, and the river returns to the Sea of Silence. It's a pity that I haven't found the land of Xuanhuan in my life, but I can also send you to death." The red-haired monster shouted, and his Taoist scenery suddenly enveloped Lin Zhuchen. Lin Zhuchen will be completely wiped out by his 2 creation terrains and sent into the Sea of Soul Silence. However, Lin Zhuchen said slowly, "I'm sorry, the source of the Yellow Spring River is here." His path opened up. A place of hell descended instantly. In this life, Lin Zhuchen also received a kind of destiny. When there are ghosts in the world, Xuanhuan is hidden in the land of death. When reincarnation resumed, the master of reincarnation, black and white, reappeared in the underworld. At this moment, reincarnation comes out. Suddenly, the Yellow Spring River was suddenly connected to Lin Zhuchen's Yellow Spring land. Where there is a place of origin, there is a river. Where there are rivers, there are oceans. At this moment, Lin Zhuchen, who had taken control of the underworld, actually deprived himself of the control over the 2 major natural terrains of the underworld river and the Soul Silence Sea in his previous life. Hoo fell asleep and snoring. The extra chapter of Demon Fierce, Xuanhuan, has been finished. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 971. The 3 major terrains merge into one. Is this going to go against the will of heaven? Even Bai Mao Chen Dong was shocked when he saw this scene. The great river of underworld, the Sea of Soul Silence. These are two very special creation terrains, related to death. It is said that if the underworld river, and the Sea of Soul Silence are all found, then the creation terrain of the sequence will be complete. And the one in control controls the power of death. Now, all three appear together. However, Lin Zhuchen directly deprived him of the two kinds of supreme evil corpses. Because, Xuanhuan land is the source. At this moment, Lin Zhuchen has mastered the complete death sequence of the heavenly talisman. Boom! In his Taoist scenery, suddenly a ladder to heaven descended and a palace appeared. Trigger the ultimate celestial phenomenon. Seeing this scene, everyone in the pale scroll was shocked. Even Master Bai Maoshan was dumbfounded and shocked for a long time. Then, he couldn't help but look at the red-haired monster and said, "Stop fighting. Your reincarnation has greater luck than you. It's better to surrender." The red-haired monster suddenly roared. Roar. Feeling that he had been deprived of control over the two natural terrains, the red-haired monster was furious. The red hairs on his body erupted like steel needles and turned into a red shadow. It actually tore the boundary between reality and reality, trying to get into Lin Zhuchen's way. In the scenery. This is very scary. It should be noted that the Taoist scenery is between emptiness and reality, and is extremely safe, which is the foundation for practitioners. Very difficult to break. Now, Lin Zhuchen's Taoist scenery was torn apart by the red-haired monster. He touched the edge of Lin Zhuchen Dao scenery and climbed in. He wants to seize the three created terrains. This seems very hardcore. However, the red-haired monster had just crawled into Lin Zhuchen's Taoist landscape. Ouch! Suddenly, there was a milky unicorn cry. The auspiciousness descended from the sky, and thousands of divine lights enveloped a sacred creature. The creature has a body like a musk deer, antlers, hooves, and a tail like a real dragon. Surprisingly, it is the auspicious Kirin. On the way here, Lin Zhuchen followed the big black dog's advice and placed the unicorn in his Taoist scenery. At this moment, the unicorn descended from the sky. Seeing the red-haired monster, a trace of doubt flashed in the little unicorn's big eyes, but it still said in a sweet voice. "Something familiar, but evil. Hey, you can't come in, I'll kick you." With that said, its little hooves kicked towards the red-haired monster. All the auspiciousness came suddenly, and the red-haired monster was shocked all over. The red hair on his body was actually swept away in large areas by this auspicious light. The red-haired monster looked at the little Kylin. His eyes, which were full of evil spirits, actually showed a hint of clarity at this moment. He was confused for a moment and murmured, "Kylin." Just when he lost his mind, his whole body was kicked away by the little Kylin. It is extremely difficult to enter other people's Taoist scenery, and it requires most of the strength to maintain it. Otherwise, you will be pushed out at any time by the natural repulsive force of the Taoist scenery. In addition, when he lost consciousness at this moment, he was naturally kicked away by Xiao Kylin. The red-haired monster fell out of the Taoist scene and reappeared in the white world of the painting. Most of the red hair on his body has fallen off, and his face has returned to normal. Although it is covered with gray dead skin, his facial features are almost the same as Lin Zhuchen. Lin Zhuchen looked at the red-haired monster and said, "I'm sorry, Kylin is in my Dao scenery." As soon as he thought about it, the little Kylin full of spiritual energy appeared from his Taoist scene and stood on his shoulder. "Hey, so familiar, who is he? Why am I a little sad, ow?" The little Kylin looked at the red-haired monster, its big eyes full of confusion, but there was a layer of mist rising up, and it felt inexplicably sad. At this moment, the red-haired monster's body also trembled, and he seemed to be struggling. Just now he was radiated by the auspiciousness, and he became clear for a moment. The afterglow of that clarity is still there at this moment. However, the ominous and strange feeling about him was too strong. Gradually, he began to lose consciousness, and the red hair on his face quietly grew again. Hey, stop fighting. You can't beat your previous life. They even found Kylan. What else do you have to fight for? Go and die. Bai Mao Chen Dong then spoke and sighed. As soon as he finished speaking, the red-haired monster roared wildly, roaring, and charged towards Lin Zhuchen again, as if crazy. His eyes were tightly locked on the little Kylan, and he wanted to snatch the little Kylan. Lin Zhuchen frowned. Facing the sky full of red hair, he just sighed and then had a sword in his hand. A wooden sword. He raised his sword and struck out with one strike. Lin Zhuchen didn't know much about swords, and even the way he used the sword was not particularly correct. He was often criticized by Dugu Yuking. However, when he swung the sword, an unimaginable power suddenly burst out, penetrating the entire white world, and wrinkles and cracks appeared in many voids. This sword almost destroyed the entire pale scroll. The red hairs all over the sky dissipated one after another. In the picture scroll world, those cultivators who were infected by the red hairs and turned into strange white creatures suddenly fell to the ground, their white hairs fell away, and they foamed at the mouth. Then, the sword was gently lowered. It was pressed on the red-haired monster's shoulder. The red-haired monster with overwhelming evil power was actually suppressed and unable to move at this moment. The red hair on his body shortened rapidly at this moment, and then retracted directly into his body. The red-haired monster appeared in its original human body for the first time. He was wearing an old and simple celestial master's robe. There were many dark red talismans on the robe, but they were all ineffective. Lin Zhuchen could vaguely see that those talismans were all used to suppress him. Before the supreme creation was lost, he fought hard against the evil. But did you lose? At this moment, a little clear light gradually gathered in the eyes of creation heavenly lord. Awesome, reincarnated and invincible, Hong Mao, surrender. White-haired Chen Dong also spoke excitedly at this moment. The white hair on his body actually retracted, making him feel so comfortable that he couldn't help but speak. Lin Zhuchen suddenly looked at him and said, "Although you are destined to be mentally ill, can you just say a few words now?" This guy, every time the red-haired monster becomes stable, he gets excited. A little expert at arching fire. Chen Dong was startled for a moment, then smiled and said, "Of course it's possible." Then, Lin Zhuchen looked at the creation supreme evil corpse and said, "Now, can you speak properly?" Creation evil corpse looked at Lin Zhuchen, with a deep helplessness in his eyes, and said, "I can do it if you put your sword on my neck. If you dare to move the sword away, I will kill you." Lin Zhuchen felt a little strange inexplicably when he heard this. However, he still said, "Tell me, how did I die back then?" Lin Zhuchen spoke. The supreme evil corpse of creation smiled and said, "Treading that ancient road, I encountered a black trail. There are black hands on the black paths." Lin Zhuchen nodded, just like the other 10 evil spirits. "Then I saw the one in the darkness." Lin Zhuchen said, "Were you killed by him?" The supreme evil corpse of creation shook his head and said, "No, I surrender." Lin Zhuchen. Is there such an operation? Was he so spineless in his previous life? Don't look at me like that. At that time, I was already lost. During the battle in the Grey Mist Sea, there was a true ancestor who didn't have humming eyes and threatened me. I couldn't help but kill him, and the result was ominous. Being entangled, without Kylan by my side, and black hair growing on my body, I really can't stand it. The evil corpse of the supreme creation spreads its hands. Lin Zhuchen understood immediately. The Tao of the Heavenly Master is indeed very terrifying. It is not impossible to attack the strong with the weak. If there is a suitable opportunity, you can make the general trend of heaven and earth work for you and kill the most powerful enemy. However, the greater the means used, the more terrifying the ominousness and strangeness will be. At that time, the supreme creation was just on the road, but he actually killed the true ancestor. This level of weirdness and ominousness, without Kylan by his side, the supreme creation could not resist and was lost. The supreme creation continued. The Black Hand is exactly the same as that one, but in fact, I didn't have the mental ability to distinguish at the time. Even if he is different from that one, I will still follow him. Lin Zhujian couldn't help being curious and said. You followed him, and what happened next? The supreme evil corpse of creation said. He later wanted to transform me into an evil corpse, but I woke up midway. Well, in layman's terms, I pretended to be a corpse. Then I used the terrain of the Xuanhuan River that I already knew to steal the Sea of Souls from him. Good fortune gave him a slap in the face. The eyes of creation evil corpse were filled with melancholy, and he said, because of this, my black hair turned into red, which makes me extremely ominous. Lin Zhujian. Was he so fierce in his previous life?